Welcome to a new tutorial from the Chaos Vantage tutorial series from Nyjo. We have to continue working on the car rendering setup we were working on in the previous tutorial. I'm going to save a new version. This one is the version number 3, so we can continue working on this one. Now we have to take care about essentially tweaking the materials we created in the part 2 to have something that is more realistic. So we are able, for example, to do more complex rendering and stuff like that. So we need to have back Chaos Vantage. We say that this one is not losing the focus. Let's connect both. Okay. It's moving all the data inside Chaos Vantage, and then we go to open the scene we were using as a setup. Okay, and then let's go to something that is a little bit bigger, and then we go to maximize this one as a viewport. So we are essentially playing with this one as a rendering view as we done last time. So let's start playing with the materials we were creating. So just to make some work in progress, let's have, for example, just these objects here. So we can focus on the tire. So you see that the tire is really, essentially really simple, because we have nothing so complex inside our material. So this one is the wheel, and this one is the brake. Okay, let's go to open a new one just to be faster. And we go to pick the material for the tire. So actually we are using a reflection roughness using this map. I like to make something more complex. So in the roughness, we can, for example, add, let's say that we go for a composite map. Okay, so that's the layer, and let's say that we have 2 layers, and we go to connect the first one here. So we have again the same kind of scene we had before. So let's do something in a different way. So let's say that we go for a general map. So we go for an RGB tint. So we're going to use a color as the initial layer. So let's say that this one is black and this one is black. And then you see here we can set the texture as we prefer. So we can have, for example, the black or the completely white. In this way, you see, we can decide how much is the let's say the roughness, just using a color. Okay. Second layer, let's leave this one for later. Second layer, we go to a noise. We can do it in a procedural way, or you can try to find, some kind of dirty map. Let's go to this one. Obviously, now it will be visible just this layer. And about this map, let's go to have something that is smaller. We have to find, obviously, the right scaling. So you see, we go to have something that is smaller. Okay, we found the scale, the right scaling. So let's go for a fractal. We go to have an higher level, say 6. So it will be more complex when you go to make the render. And then we say that, for example, you see maybe something like that, and the other one will be obviously brighter. So we have some variation, nothing so complex. Okay, let's see with the two bullets. Maybe I can go a little bit brighter with this one, the second one I mean. Okay, so you see it's more visible what we are doing, so it's more okay. You see now it is a little bit more clear what we are doing. And maybe just to make it more complex, let's say that we have another layer, and we get to use a noise like this one, Ctrl C, oh sorry, we go to use something like that, but maybe we go to set in a different way. So let's go to have, let's say maybe a smoke. Now it's visible just the smoke. And about the scale, I have to double check. Let's go for 10, 1. I think the scaling will be similar to the other one. Yeah. Okay. Maybe let's do this one bigger, so it's something that works on the other one. So let's say something like an average, you know. So in this way we have more stuff that are working together. Or maybe let's do some tests. Let's go in addition, because I like to make some tweaks to this map. Let's go back in the first one, and maybe we can have let's go smaller, or maybe just a little bit bigger. Okay, and then we should need something similar for the reflection too. By the way, we go to add a layer of bump, and we can use maybe also the smoke, so a really small smoke map. Say that this one is obviously it needs to be scaled, so let's go to 02, and we go to have another map. I have to be sure that this one is working. No, I think it's not working, so let's go for noise. And let's double check the material. So the first map is working. I think that essentially it's not working the second one. I didn't check if you know, this one can work or not, so we should need maybe a dirt map. So I can open, let's go here, and just for a moment let's find something like poly even texture. Let's say that this one is smaller. Let's say dirt, and let's see if we find something not inside the wood but inside everything. because maybe also something like that can work. So I like just to see if we have something better. Obviously, you can find some dirt maps. So, for example, just so this one is not bad because I think we can use the one we found at the beginning, because we need just essentially some dirty maps to make the bump a really small bump like this one. So in this case, let's double check the map. This one, okay, this one can be useful, so maybe we can stratify both. So let's go to download everything, and then we go to use just the bump. On the other side, I like to be back to the map we were using before, and here I like to have a better contrast, you know. So just for a moment, let's set to hidden this one, so we play with just this one, and let's go to have back a really high bright color, so we have the possibility to see in a better way how we are working on this map. Okay, you see now it's a little bit clear what's going on. Okay, what about the color? Let's go just a little bit less. We're talking about really subtle tweaks. Okay, because I don't want to have too much variation, you know. And then let's go back to have also this one, but in this case we say that this one is completely visible, so we have the possibility to see in a better way what's going on. Okay, and let's go smaller, because I like to add smaller variation to the other map. Okay, and then back here, let's see if we go just to a lower level of visibility. So this one is going just to tweak the other, you know. You see, this way it is essentially creating some kind of variation over the map. And then back here, we can have the fourth layer, and we go to have this one. Essentially, they use this one to control how it looks over the written stuff. So maybe we can make it visible just at a lower resolution. So, you know, just maybe a low percentage. Just a little bit, so we have variation over the tire, and we have variation also over the other stuff. And then, just to have a generic control over everything, we can say that this one is up to everything. So with this one, we are controlling the level. So let's say that this one is an addition, and then we can essentially decide how much is controlling the general look of the tire. You see, so in this way you can create variation over the tire. So we have some small variation over the tire, and we have the generic color that is given by this one. And then we have to play with the map we were downloading. So let's go to open this one. Let's unroute here. It's not a problem because we are going just to copy this map on our folder. So let's say that we go to use the rough. So let's say copy, and then we go in the folder where we have the car. So the free content social October, and let's go to put in the right folder. Okay, so let's make a test. So we can remove this one, and let's say that we go to create a composite also there. I hope it works. I never tried, so let's make a test. Okay, let's say we have another layer, and here we go to, let's say that we go to use a map, V-Ray bitmap, and we go to pick the texture. We just put in the folder. I think we put in the folder we have over the other workstation. So let's go here and pick the one in most granular concrete. I picked the roughness. Oh, sorry, that's not right. We have to pick in download. We have to pick the normal. Okay, so now we should see the map coming up. Okay, nice. Connect. Okay, we have it. So now we do two things. One is essentially scaling this map because I want to have it really small, maybe also smaller. So let's go to 8 and 8. We are talking about a really small map. And then we say that this one is, let's say, an addition. No, it's normal. Let's say that it's less visible. Okay, it starts to work. Let's go up. Okay, we start to have something. Maybe I think we can do it also smaller. But it's nice to be able to see the map when we are distant the camera. So you see that it is well visible. Maybe I'd like to do something about the reflection, because actually we have just this kind of map, so we can disconnect. And then we can essentially copy the roughness and paste here as a copy, and then layout. Okay, in the reflection we should have also a map that we didn't use. Okay, and we have the reflection. This one is not suitable at the moment, so we get to use this one. Okay, we don't need the other map. So here we are essentially controlling how it behaves. So let's say that this one is just an addition, so we can decide, you see, if it is reflecting more or less. So you see that in this way we have regular reflection using the same map we used before. Okay, let's leave something like that for the moment. Let's create a new one, and we have the rim. Okay, the rims, actually we have this color, then we have this normal, and then we have the reflectivity, and we have the reflection glossiness and the metalness. So I like to double check what's going on in this map. So let's say that we have no bump, and we have just the reflection, and we have no metalness. So we have the color, that's the reflection, and that's the roughness. So let's double check what's going on. Let's start with something like, let's see what's going on if we have a really basic material like this one. That's the reflectivity. Okay, let's say that we have the metalness that is connected. Okay, so we are using this map, and then we have the roughness. Okay, you see in this way we have completely reflection. By the way, this one was the roughness, so let's see if we have back the roughness. Okay, and then essentially we have the normal. Okay, and then we have the color. Let's see the color. I'm moving from the other monitor because essentially you see is a map with the color for the object here with the logo, and then the other color. So we can decide two things. The first one is essentially, let's double check this model and let's see what's going on. We can, for example, split this one. Let's say that we go to the site to say that this one is the rims logo. Okay, so now we can take here in a different way about the rendering. So in this case now we can say that this one is essentially one material. So we go for a dark color, and then we can say it is metalness with this one, and maybe we can also go for something really simple. So this one is reflective, and we go to use the IOR to have something that is better than the previous version. And about this map, I don't like it because essentially it's just a color, nothing else. So we go to have something like that. So let's go for something that can work in a better way. Maybe we can try with something like that, or maybe just a little bit more. And then we need the logo. So let's say that we have a new material, and here we have a material, V-Ray, V-Ray material, and we have to pick this one. assign the material. Okay, and then we can pick the texture from this one. So let's say copy, and then inside here paste. Okay, so you see we have the logo, and then we go to have some additional reflectivity. We can use also the glossiness, it's not a problem. By the way, just to have a better control, let's go to have a color correction, and we go to take care about this map, and we can just maybe make some tweaks here. Okay, so I like well, it's a little bit lower, so let's say maybe 6, and then we have the reflection. We have some small you see some small glossiness, so we go to have a really simple material, or maybe just to okay, this one obviously is too much, so we can go higher, let's say maybe 2 or 3, maybe something like that. Okay, so if we add back the car, it takes obviously just a little bit of time to have back the car inside our software. By the way, it seems not bad. Maybe we can go lower with the reflection over the logo. Okay. Then I like to do the same thing we done to this tire, because we have to take care about the same changes. Let's say that this one is detached. Let's say rim logo back as X, and we need to assign the same material. Okay, and then we have to do the same for both here. So select this one, and then we go to detach, and this one is rims logo back dx, and then we have the other, and we are talking about detaching the object, and then rims logo front dx. Then select both, and we can assign the material. Okay, and save. Obviously we have to still tweaks everything to have a more realistic rendering, you know. Okay, so we have something that is starting to play in a better way for the type. So I think the material is not bad, really not bad, but maybe we can do something. And to make a test, let's pick this one, and let's try to do another small tweak. So over here, it's not so simple, but we'll do something using another UV map. Okay, we go for a cylinder, and let's go to find the right place. So obviously the mapping is not right, so let's say that this one is the number 2, and then let's remove the edges faces. Okay, over the diffuse, actually we have just the color. By the way, we go to have composite. Okay, first layer is this one, and then we connect this one here. Okay, and that's perfect. Let's say that we have 2 layers. Back in the texture, let's say that I like to find something. Let's say maybe sand. one is a sandy gravel, this one is sand. I need just a little bit of coloring, nothing special, so I think we can go with something like, because I like to see some colors, so let's see this one. The color map is something like that. Okay, let's download this one. Okay, we have the map, so we get to create a new V-Ray bitmap. We need to pick the coastal and connect over here. Okay, so you see that now it's essentially visible everywhere. Let's go to zoom a little bit of view. This one can have the right UV map we are using is not a problem, but let's say that we have an higher tiling. So you see something that became really small. Okay. Then I like to make a mask. Let's see if this one works. I didn't check for the moment. So let's say that we go to have a grading ramp and connect to the mask and say that this one is using the map number 2. Okay. Let's go to rotate by 90 degrees. And let's say that this one is visible inside the viewport, but I like to see just the tire. Okay. So let's say that here it is black. So you see it's essentially visible just in the middle, and then it's a little bit visible over here. Then let's say that maybe we have another black place here, and maybe another black place here. Okay, so let's say that this one is visible here and here. Okay, we are not going to use the cap, but we need a better presence of map also there. Let's move this one. Okay. Okay, something like that. You see that we have this dirty area over there, and then we go to add a fractal. Let's do it really high so we can see everything, and then we go lower with the sides. Let's say maybe 0.1, and then back to have a low level. Okay, obviously I don't want so much dirty layer. 0.5, 0.2, and let's say that is a little bit bigger, and maybe again to 0.3. Okay, let's say again 0.1, so it's smaller. Okay, let's see, it is nicer. Yeah, let's try also to have a little bit more. Okay, then this one is okay. Let's say that that's okay, but you know, I like to have it not so how I can say not so much visible. So to do something like that, we can essentially use another composite just over the mask. So if we say that we are going to use a composite, let's go to have a little bit more space. Okay, and we say that this one is the first layer, and we go inside the mask here. Then we have another layer, and the second layer is let's say a smoke, for example. So we say that this one is the second layer. Obviously it needs to be small. Lower. Okay, by the way, let's say that we go to tweak this one like multiply, you see, so we are just tweaking where we have the map. Okay, then we can go back to the scaling, let's say to something bigger, so we make just some variation. Okay, and then we go lower, so we are going to remove just a little bit, you see. Okay, so it's not in the same way on all the layers. And then here we need to make everything less visible. So if we like to have everything less visible, we have essentially two possibilities. One is tweaking the colors here, or the other way is to decide to have a color correction. So we can have here a color correction. I try to make everything more clear. Okay, so we have the gradient that goes inside the color correction, then we are using the color corrected one, and we can say just that. You see the brightness is lower. If you like, you can have a little bit less contrast to have it more visible. Now the problem is that if we go to pick this one, you see that here is not so much visible, so we can decide, for example, to use this one, copy, and use the same color. You see, so it's completely visible, and we can remove this one. And then back here, we can decide how much is visible everywhere. Let's set back the car. Okay, so you see it's really subtle, but you have every time the possibility to decide how much it needs to be present. And if you like, you can also tweak the color. And to tweak the color, you can essentially have a new color correction. So you go to connect this one to the color correction, and then we go to use this one as the map, and we go to remove the saturation, you know, so it is brighter, and then you can have back here and say, okay, I want to have it more visible. Now we should do the same things to the other, so we can copy this one, then we go to select the other tire. Let's go to use a perspective view. Okay, you see that now this map is visible everywhere. So you say paste, and you see that now it's visible just on the side. And then we do the same for the other tire. So select this one, paste. I'm going to do not an instanced version because maybe we can have the need to do some tweaks. Okay, and close here. And we have back our car. And now the tires has a lot of detail because, you know, we have the bump, you see. Obviously if needed you can have a deeper bump because you can have a smaller version and stuff like that. So another things I like to do is to you see the model obviously is really straight over the edges, and we can do something for it. So I hope we have enough space to do it. So we can go back to the tire here. Let's say to layout everything. Okay. And over the bump, we can add another map. We can do it manually. Let's say map, array, edges text. Okay, and we go to connect this one. So this one is going to add smooth edges. Okay, we have just to, let's see how much it needs to be. It's too much. Let's say maybe 0.5. So you know, just a little bit over the border. Okay, so now it is not completely precise. And by the way, let's go back to the rim metal. Let's see what's going on if we have something that is less. Maybe 0.3. Okay. I think we will go to tweak something also over this piece, but for the moment we can stay with this one. I like to see also if here we can do something about it. No, it's completely breaking, you know. I think we have the same problem. If we go for a turbo smooth, we should do something more complex. Yeah. So for the moment we can stay with something like that. That's not a problem because we are just taking care about something that is realistic more than possible. Okay, back in the material, I'm not sure where I have this material, so let's say we do something fast because I don't want to lose too much time. Okay, and let's try to go near to see what's going on. Okay, let's try to have a low reflection. Okay, we need for sure to tweak the map. Let's go to have a color correction. And I think I will go lower as we done before. So let's say maybe 0.65, maybe also less. Okay, it is better. Maybe a little bit less saturation. Not so much because we lose the red color. But I think that the initial color are not so perfect. And then let's go to add a little bit of reflection, and it should be enough, I think. And I like to see with a really high reflection. Let's do something maybe later for this piece of model. Okay, then we have the glass. The interior obviously is not so important. So let's go to tweak something inside, directly inside Vantage. You know, obviously, as I said to you, we can manipulate the model directly inside the Vantage model, the Vantage view. So let's tweak a little bit the exposure, and then I like to see something about the rendering too. So the GI, let's go to have maybe just a little bit more bouncing, let's say 4, and maybe let's try with 3. because we don't need so much bouncing. And let's go to advanced. That's the maximum bouncing, so that's how many bounces we have between reflection, refraction, and stuff like that. So this one is the general lighting. That's what we have about the quality for the light cache. I'm not sure if we have some kind of opacity map, but let's say to use it because maybe we have it in some case. And that's the reflection. Let's go to have something that is more precise for reflection. Reflection is set to 8, is for sure enough. And then the bump is okay, normal we have, because we don't have it. So let's say to use the shading graph for glossy NGI. In this way, we are saying to simulate in the best way possible everything that is related to the glossy and the global illumination coming from the material we have inside 3ds Max. Okay, for the moment we should stay with something like that. And let's try to simulate a little bit of bouncing made manually from here inside the 3D. So let's say that we have back no UI. Then obviously we have back the control over 3ds Max. And we have the light here, so let's say that this one is the one we are going to use. And I like to make a test, so let's create the light. Okay. This one is a plane, let's say that it's longer. Okay. It's bigger. And then we go to rotate this light. It's essentially a panel that is going to add some, some kind of reflection, but I like to have something that is really, really subtle, I don't want reflection, I don't want to diffuse, I like to have just a little bit of specularity. So let's go lower, let's go a little bit higher. So let's go for something just lower for the moment, and then we'll see later, because we have to add also the environment, because actually we have nothing. By the way, generally speaking, I think that it is not bad. Okay, let's go near this area. This plastic here, I like to double check the material. So let's go to something like that and say that we can use this one, and say that we pick this one. Okay, there is a bump, but I think that's not so much. So we should need something about a noise, some kind of noise roughness. So maybe we can use the same we use it for the tire, and it was inside the bump, so we're talking about this one. So about the bump we have the normal, and we are talking about this one, the granular. So maybe we can make a copy, and then here we can, first of all, let's go to use a composite. So maybe we do something that is similar to the other we used before, and connect. Then we have 2 layers, and we copy here. Okay, so Yeah, I copied the wrong one. So it was this one, copy, paste. Now it should works. Okay. So it's visible. Maybe we can have. Okay, the scale can work. But I like to say that this one is an average, so we have both together, and I think I don't like so much this map. I think I'm going to tweak a little bit this one, so let's go to use a color correction. Connect here, and then we go to use the color corrected one. Okay, we go obviously lower, so we have a little bit higher reflectivity, but it should be lower. Okay. Okay, I think this one is working better than the previous one we had. Okay. So now let's work a little bit here over the optics. So I think that the plastic has a similar material. Let's see, this one is the exterior. Okay, so we should have the bump. Yep, we have it. And then obviously we can have also a map maybe that is controlling the reflectivity. So let's double check if we can essentially use a noise or maybe a smoke reflection. Okay, let's say that this one is 2. Okay, you see that we have the variation, and the color was white, so we go for a white and maybe something that is, you know, a little bit different, so we have some variation over the plastics. Okay, nice. And about the bump, let's go higher to 100. Okay, so you see it's more visible also when we are near the plastic. Okay, what about the other material? Let's go to create a new one, and I like to see, for example, what we can do here. We are talking about the glass, so we have to pick the others. So let's say that I like to pick this material. Let's try to have an X form also here, and let's say that we go up. Okay, and then we are able to pick. Okay, so it's going to use the exterior. I don't like so much this way, I have to say, because obviously we are tweaking the materials together, and I really don't like it. By the way, obviously we should split everything to have the right way to manage this one. By the way, I think we have to do it. There's no way. So we should have this one, and 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 also this one and this one split, because we need different materials. That's the only way. By the way, let's do something. Let's go here, and let's say that we like to see a 50 Maranello front. Sorry, let's go back. No, sorry, this one. Images. Let's see, I like to see just the bigger one. So we have for sure the glass. Let's see if we have something that is better to see. Maybe this one. Because you see, we have also some kind of yep, we have something over here. This one is completely reflective, but we have also this some kind of bump here. By the way, let's try to do something simpler before. So let's say that we have a new material. Let's say that is let's say that we say int optic, just to know what we are doing. We didn't done the touch. I'll call it optic, so I know that this one is a piece we are taking care about assigned material. Okay. Then if I try to go for, let's say, an aluminium, it's more similar to the stuff we are trying to achieve, obviously, but we need for sure a little bit of roughness. So let's say 2 is too much. Let's try with 1. Okay, maybe something like that. And let's see if we have back the glass in front. And I like to double check this glass. Okay, and this glass has a bump. Yep. So let's say that it's higher. We should have a little bit more distortion. Maybe the displacement will be the better way. By the way, for the moment, something like that can work. So let's go on the other side, and we do the same. So we say that this one, and this one is split. Same for this piece, and same for this one. And the touch, let's call it optic DX. We go to select, and we go to assign this one. Perfect. Then we need back the glass. Okay. And let's go check back also the other glasses. Yeah, that's better. Let's see if we can do something to this glass. Okay, it's essentially a really standard glass. So let's say that this one is a little bit less refractive. So it's more, it's more present. Okay, and about the glossiness, let's go to 0.95. So you see we have this kind of effects over, and just to, let's say, okay, we have no shell. Maybe we can use the shell. Obviously that's too much. Let's say 0.1, so just a little bit. Okay, and let's go to have a little bit of AB. Let's see if we can go lower. No, so we go inside customize preferences, and we have here the decimals in the spinner. Let's say 5, so we can go lower with the parameters. Let's say maybe 0.05, so that's really small. You see, that's the difference. And then maybe we can try back to have an higher level. Okay, I'm using some stuff that obviously will be more useful when we are going to render with directly with 3ds Max. By the way, let's go here and let's double check again the photo. Obviously also there the model is, you know, a little bit more complex, so let's do something. Let's say that this one is the glass, okay, and this one is again the parts. So let's say that we go to split this piece, the touch, let's say front optics, and close, and then back select this one, and we go to assign the right material, and then let's set back this one. About the logo, let's see, this one essentially again a piece of this one, so I think we can go to the touch, or let's say Ferrari logo front, and we can make something special. So let's say that we go to create, maybe we can go to do something really fast in the compact material. Select here, and then we do a clone, let's say logo, and then we pick this one, assign, and then that's really bad. Let's try to have not in subdivision, just to have something that seems brighter. Okay. In this case, I don't like to have the bump, but I like to have an higher reflectivity. Let's say that we go to have maximum reflectivity, and I don't want to have the roughness, so let's go to control everything by hand. Maybe we can also remove this one. Okay, let's say that we have a black color, and let's go for something that is metallic. Okay, 15. Okay, yeah, obviously we see this one from a distant point of view, so it's not a problem, but this one would be really with a chromic effect. Okay, back to the tire. Let's make this one more visible. We can do from the compact material, it's not a problem. So we go here, and this one was the map. Okay, you see that this way the texture we are using is more visible, the dirty layer. Okay, it's I think it's you know, better than the previous amount of view. So then let's go to play a little bit with the metal here about the car. Save. Okay, it's saved. So let's go back to have the slate material, and we get to work on a new one. Then we can remove everything to clean up a little bit. By the way, so that's the standard one. So we have to understand how we like to play with this one. By the way, let's go to have the maximum quality. So now something I like to do is to play with the bumping of the car. So actually we have distortion, do it just to the shape of the car, the model. But you know that some stuff are supported and other stuff are not supported inside Vantage. So for example, as we done before, you know, I'm using some features that are not supported in Vantage, but will be obviously supported if you go to render with V-Ray GPU or V-Ray CPU. On the other way, for example, before I didn't check the light exclusion before, and you saw that it's not supported, but for sure I check it before during other project that, and you can find also the information over the Chaos Vantage website, that in the car paint the bump is not support. So if we like to have a distortion, we have essentially to do something like having a displacement. That's the only way. So we can go here and say let's try with noise. Obviously I didn't check everything, by the way, you know, sometimes I have to double check if a feature is supported or not, and that's why it's useful to have the Chaos Vantage website ready to be checked. So we try to use a noise, and let's go to connect to the cut bump, and then we try to have something small so we can see the distortion. On the other side, obviously I need to double check. Oh, sorry, that's the bump. Oh, that's my fault, sorry. We have to go on the displacement. Okay, you see that we are starting to have the distortion. So I like to have a little bit of distortion, nothing, you know, something so big, but I like to have 2 layers of distortion. So let's try to have a composite, and the first layer is essentially the big one. Okay, so we are going to create some bigger distortion over the car, let's say maybe 20. So now we should lose the small one. Let's try to go with a regular. Let's try to go higher. Try to regenerate the displacement. Okay, so let's go lower again with the scale, and just to be sure it is applying, let's go to regenerate. So now we have something that is not so high, but we can add a new layer, and we can make a copy. The second layer will be smaller as we done before, so let's say 5, and we are talking about the fractal one. Then let's go back to have the regeneration for the displacement. But to be sure, we go here and we say that we have the V-ray displacement 2D, and then we go to use this one. Okay, so we say that the displacement is controlled by the modifier. I'm sorry. Okay, we have back Chaos Vantage, but before we made some tweaks, so I lost the tweaks I'd done before because it's crashed. So let's say that we have the opacity, let's say that we have 4 bounces here, we have the shading graph, and then about the color we have a little bit higher exposure. Okay, it should be right. Now let's go to have the oh sorry, that's my fault. We have to load this one, and then we can go to tweak the other stuff. Let's say 3 for the GI, and let's say that we have the opacity. You see that here we have an opacity map. Okay, let's say 4 bounces here, and let's say to use the shading graph, and about here we add a little bit higher exposure. If we don't want to have the bloom, we can remove it. Okay, now let's go to see, yeah, if it's working. Yeah. So on the other side we can say in the material, let's go to save. Let's say Vantage number 2. Okay. Then full screen, and then I like to double check if this one stays to 0. It should be updating the car. Let's double check to be sure that it's done. Regenerate. Okay, we have it. So let's say that maybe is 20, and regenerate. I should see, I'd like to see this one just a little bit over the distortion. Let's say that this one is an addition. And checking the other stuff I have to take care about. Let's go high. Let's move the camera to double check Okay, it is usually really useful to see here how it works, because you see that here we have some kind of problem, but we don't need so much displacement. We can go lower, okay, because we don't need so much, but I think we lose something. Let's regenerate. Okay, it is back. Sorry, sometimes you can have some kind of, bad visualization, so don't worry about it. So I like to have the displacement but with a low level, so now here is less visible, so we should have a little bit. So we go to click maybe frame by frame to be sure, and I like to be sure that here also the material is working fine. So let's go to scale it down. So I think here we have the same problem because the exhaust has a different material, so the touch, and then we go to create, let's say that we go to use maybe this map, so let's do something really fast in the compact material. Let's pick this one, then we make a copy, let's call X to know that this one is used for the other mesh. Okay, it is assigned. Okay, so let's start to play with the material. So first of all, let's then use this one, and let's go to play with the base color. We go to pick a color correction, so we go to have a lower level for the color. Sometimes I have a problem with the updating here. By the way, let's go here. So that's really dark, and we go a little bit lower with the saturation. Okay, and then we go to remove this one, so it's completely reflective. And we don't need the bump. And about the metalness, we go to remove it. And I think we have some more problem with the map. So let's say that this one is completely black. Okay. Let's go back to the diffuse. Okay, and then we go back to the roughness. That is maybe too much, but before I'd like to double check here and say that we have, for example, 4. Okay, and let's see if we have back this one. It's maybe too much, and we go for the standard color. And then about the bump, we go to use just one. So this one is removed. So we're using the map that is inside the render setup. Okay, it seems not bad, but I like to double check about the color, because if we go black, it works perfectly. I think we have a really bright color over here. Let's go really dark. I don't want to have too much color over this piece, you know, maybe just a little bit. Okay, so just a little bit of smart color. Nice. Back the car. So it seems working better than before. We have for sure more details. So the car is becoming more realistic, but obviously the quality of the material will be more visible if we go really near, for example, the tire, because we add more details over the tire, but it needs to be seen when we are really near the tire. And back here again, I like to double check something. Remember that you can go so deep. For example, with you can't go so near with the camera, because you know it is complex to render the stuff with a quality that is not so high. By the way, you can see that, for example, here we have also the possibility to say that the depth of field is active, and in this case it can help us, because it is going to lose a little bit of detail over the tire and stuff like that. So the same is that if you go, for example, here, then let's say that we are in this way, and then you have the depth of field, you see. The same for the other point of view. Now we are inside the car, sorry. So we can, for example, let's say that we go a point of view like this one, and if you have the depth of field, obviously you are going to have the right details when it's needed. So I think that we have something that it is beginning to work, so we have more and more details over the car tire and stuff like that. So I think we can play with it. So the idea is to add some more details over the car step by step when it's needed. So the next step is to give a place, an environment to play with. So remember that you have some feature inside the software that are not available and can't be used. So we have to remember it, because obviously we can't do everything we like to do. And by the way, I like to double check something about the tires. Let's see the side. I think we can go brighter with the color here. Let's say that we like to see, for example, the rims. Okay, you see, and this way we are able to see how it looks. So let's try to go near, and I think we can have something that is a little bit brighter. So okay, and let's set this one just for rendering. Pick this material and let's double check this one. So reflectivity is more blurred. So let's try with 4. Maybe we can go also higher. By the way, first of all, the color. Let's go for something that is brighter. And then about the reflectivity, glossiness, I think we can have something like that. Maybe it can work, maybe just a little bit more. Okay, and then if we double check the surface here, it seems that we have some subtle bump around. So let's try to do something like that. Let's go near. Obviously, we'll be not able to do a rendering so near the surface. By the way, let's try to use the smoke. And let's go back again. This one obviously will be useful. Let's go to, let's say, 2. Obviously, it will be perfect when we are going to render with V-Ray GPU, but in this case, we are using the Vantage, so we should use a map. Maybe we can use the same dirty map we use it for the bump over the tire. I know that it's not the best thing to do, but I think it can work, because we need essentially just to play a little bit with this bump. It should be this one, yeah. Copy. So obviously here we go to remove this one, clear. Let's go back to this one, and then here we go to have a composite. And the second level will be the same we used it before. Now we have just this one. Let's try to have a really high value. Okay, so now it's visible. Obviously I don't want to have something like that, but let's say that we go for something bigger, because I like to use it just to create some, you know, some subtle distortion. Okay, And then let's go back to 1 here. So you see that obviously it's visible because now we are using just this one, but we say to use, for example, at 15. We have to wait for some updates. So now as here, because it's present but it's really low. Something more, I think that this one needs to be metallic, not sure, let's double check. I have to remove this one. Okay, seems black, seems completely black, this piece, and then this one should be plastic, I think. We can try to double check over one tire. Example here, yeah, it's essentially black with a black plastic stuff. Obviously, if you like to have something that is more glossy, you can have it, so we can make tweaks where it's needed. So let's pick this one. We are going to do it black, so maybe something that can work every time. Let's say bulb. Let's do a simple material here and assign. Let's do heavy ray material, and we go for something that is essentially black, but has, you know, a little bit of reflectivity, because it's the only way to do it interesting. So let's say that we have a little bit of glossy. And maybe we go for something that is not completely black. Okay. Getting away from the tire, and if you like to have a better specularity over this one, you can, first of all, this one can be lower, let's say 250, and if needed you can play essentially with this one. So if this one is 25, you will have less glossiness over it, you know. So you can decide how the tire can work, because this one, if it is 80, you see that is more present. If it goes down, it will be less visible. By the way, let's go to play with this one. So let's say that we have to detach also this one. Detach, let's say, wow, 02. And select this small object, and we were using sorry, because I have a problem with the updating of the material editor. By the way, let's go to pick also this one, pick the small piece and attach. Okay, then we can assign this one, and then we have to do for the last time. Okay, for this guy, and set to off, and assign. Okay. Perfect, guys. It's starting to work in a really nice way. Okay. That's obviously because we are not using the camera. Okay. In this case, you see that obviously you have the depth of field behind the camera. Yeah, I like to double check if the stuff are working in the right way, you know. You see that, for example, with a depth of field. It's nice to see how the depth of field is behaving over the car. By the way, which kind of material is this one? The shadow planes. Let's make a test. Oh, we get to pick this one, the shadow planes. And I think this one is too bright. So let's go for something that is darker. Okay? Okay. Now it's better because it's not so clear. And about this plane, let's go to move it a little bit down. You see that the tire is still visible. Okay, now it is in the right position, I think. So it's a little bit higher in some places, so we have to move it back. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, let's find a nice camera point of view. And let's see the depth of field. Nice. Just to be sure, let's save. Let's go to full screen. And save the scene too. And just to be sure, because you see that here we have a little bit of space, we have to tweak it for sure. Okay, let's move up. Okay, done it. We are essentially ready to move forward. In the next lesson, we are going to add an environment so we can start playing with the car in a better way and try to simulate also, you know, something that is more realistic about the lighting. And then we'll see if we have to tweak more some materials, you know, because I like to see if the plastics are okay, if you like to add something, because some stuff can be done in Vantage, some stuff can't be done, so we have to double check everything. And maybe just one last thing we can double check is to see something about, you know, in general, this one can be at 0, sorry, at 1. Let's see. If we can have, you see a small tweak to the lighting here. Okay, let's try with something like that. No, I like to be back over here and go back to something that is darker. Okay, and save. Back in the camera, let's say depth of field, and then full screen. Okay, thanks guys for watching. We'll see soon the next lesson, so we can focus on some nice point of view over environment and then in the animation. Thanks, bye.